What is up, guys? Today is December 11th, 2024, and the Bank of Canada just dropped the interest rates by 0.5%. So why did they do this? What does it mean for you guys as homeowners or people who want to buy real estate? So the reason why they dropped the interest rate is because the market is total crap. Okay, in 2021, the Bank of Canada and our Prime Minister mentioned that interest rates are going to stay low until 2025, but that did not happen. Instead, the interest rates started to rise rapidly. They blamed it on inflation. They were saying that inflation numbers were at 8% when the target number should be at 2%. So what they ended up doing is they started to raise the interest rate aggressively so that they could bring down inflation. Now, for those of you who don't know what inflation is, it's basically the devaluation of your dollar. Everything just gets more expensive. Gas gets more expensive, grocery gets more expensive. Your total cost of living gets more expensive. And the Bank of Canada is trying to control inflation by making the cost of borrowing money more expensive. Now, is that a good idea? Was that the right move? I would say yes and no. So at the end of the day, one of the tools that the Bank of Canada has is by increasing the interest rates or decreasing it to stimulate or slow down the economy. Now, one thing we have to look at is when financing gets more expensive, the cost of products or the volume of purchases drop because not a lot of people can purchase it anymore. Money is not cheap anymore. For example, if you want to buy a car and the interest rate is 10%, you're going to see less people buy cars. But if the interest rates go to 1%, you're going to see more people want to buy cars, regardless of the price point, because people are not just buying on the price point of the items, they're also buying on their affordability, their monthly payments. So a car that might be, $50,000 on a 1% finance, it's going to be technically cheaper than a car that is $40,000 at a 10% finance. And yes, there's a $10,000 gap on the product price, but it's the monthly payments that Canadians have to deal with. And that is what affects our daily affordability. Now, what they did was they increased the interest rates multiple times to a span of 5%. The whole economy just stopped. Nobody was buying houses. A lot of people stopped buying properties because it was just too expensive. The property prices were expensive, the cost of financing was expensive, and the regulations to obtain financing was very tough. There's something called the stress test, the mortgage stress test. And what that meant was whatever financing contract rate you were going to get, you had to add a 2% buffer on top. And so if you're trying to pay for financing at $3,000, you got to add a 2% buffer on top, and that's what you're going to pay for. Actually, $1,000 is not going to be the right rate. Let's call it 5%. If you're paying a 5% mortgage, you have to qualify now at 7% to qualify for the financing, and that is why the economy stalled. Prices were still expensive. Real estate prices were still expensive. The cost of financing was expensive. At the same time, the qualification rules has gone up. So a lot of people were not buying properties. Now, fast forward 2024. The market stalled. The job labor market is terrible. We have a 6.8% unemployment level. Not a lot of people are getting jobs. So the economy is not doing well at all. And inflation now has dropped to 2%, which is their target. Another factor is next year is going to be an election year for us. It looks like Mr. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's on his way out. So they're gonna try their best to capture as many votes as they can. At the same time, everybody is scared of the Trump 25% tariffs that may be coming in place to Canada as well. So with all these factors that are coming in, the Bank of Canada decided to cut the interest rate by another 0.5% today. Now, if you're currently in a fixed mortgage, it does not do anything to you. Like you're still paying whatever you're paying. However, if you are in a variable mortgage, your payments might have dropped. Now, there's a difference between a variable mortgage and an adjustable mortgage, okay? So if you're in a variable mortgage, your payments would stay the same, but with every payment, more of your payment would go towards principal starting on your next payment versus interest. If you are on an adjustable mortgage, your actual payment would drop on your next payment. So what does this mean for you if you're looking to buy a property? Well, it means qualifying for financing just got a little bit easier as well. Now, even though that the rates are coming down, we still have this stress test rule that we have to factor in, the 2% stress test rule. So this doesn't help anybody who's trying to get a fixed mortgage on a purchase. This would only help you if you're getting a variable mortgage. What I would recommend is start looking for properties now, get pre-qualified, see what you can afford, and adjust the numbers accordingly on what the variable mortgages are at the time. And it looks like they're going to be cutting the rates a lot more, many more times in 2025. So you can actually forecast what your pre-approval amount's going to be. So if you currently don't qualify today in December, you might actually qualify for whatever you're trying to buy in March, because we still have more rate announcements coming in for 2025. And the outlook is down. Rate cuts, rate cuts, rate cuts. What's gonna really change the game is if the stress test rule is gone. If they get rid of the 2% stress test buffer on qualifications on purchase mortgages and refinances, you're gonna see this economy fully open up, because now you can truly qualify for the property that you wanna buy and you don't have to adjust for a higher payment. I hope you guys got some value on today's first video. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comment section or just reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help you guys out. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.